My name's Vishen Lakhiani, and I founded one of the world's biggest platforms for personal growth and transformation. Hundreds of programs in every aspect of improving your life. But people often ask me, what's the most powerful personal growth technique that could create the biggest transformation in their health, their wealth, their career? You see, I built Mind Valley, the biggest platform for personal growth in the world. It's been around for 22 years. During that time, I interviewed over 1,000 people. I published over 100 of the world's top courses in wellness and personal growth. But this particular technique that I'm going to share with you, a technique called Lofty Questions, is probably one of the most powerful tools I've ever learned. And I discovered it from a mystic that I went to interview in farm country just outside Chicago. Now, the Lofty Question is a simple mental construct. You create any number of them, depending on the type of goals that you have in life. But I swear to you, I've never seen anything create these type of results this fast, this powerfully. You ready? Because we're about to begin. These questions, when you actually start using them, shift your reality in ways that almost feel suspicious. Now, I know this sounds like an overclaim, so stay with me. First, the technique. It's called Lofty Questions. It's backed by peer-reviewed science. It takes 1 minute a day, and it works because it does something that things like affirmations simply don't do. Here's the problem with affirmations, with declarative statements and how wonderful your life is going to be. So you stand in front of a mirror, you look at yourself with conviction, and you say, I am confident, I am abundant, I am worthy of love. And a very, very small, very accurate voice at the back of your head will go, are you now? Really? Because I've been here all morning and I'm not seeing it. Now, that voice is not the enemy. That voice is your subconscious mind, and it has a 20 million bit per second processing system. And it's not going to accept a declaration. It doesn't believe it. Not for you, not for me, not for anyone. But here's what that subconscious mind cannot do. It cannot argue if you are not making a declaration, but stating a question. So let me tell you a little story. I'm going to go back to Jan 14, 2016. So I'm standing in my bathroom, looking at my bathroom mirror, my 40th birthday, and I'm having what I can only describe as one of the most deeply humbling conversations with my own reflection. I look like a man who is fully committed to the concept of dad bod, without actually being a dad who works out. I'm soft in places I don't want to be soft at. I'm wearing a shirt that I used to fit, but now it just feels pudgy. And I realized I failed every single one of my health goals. So I do what every self-help person would do in a moment like this. I look at myself in the mirror. I take a deep breath. I look at my eyes and I say, can't help it. I'm just getting old. This is what happens to your body when you get old. And I decided, maybe I don't need to run that marathon. Maybe I don't need to have that healthy body. I'm 40, 2 kids, CEO job. I should be okay. But something in me just felt off. I felt like I was giving up. Now that day, as I was going through my company's YouTube channel, a clip suddenly appeared. It was by this mystic living in farm country just outside Chicago by the name of Christie Marie Sheldon. And she was speaking about the questions that we ask ourselves in our head and how these questions actually transform our reality. I want to play that clip for you right now. Listen carefully and watch.
Have you ever thought, how come I'm always broke? Or how come my life stinks so much today? Or how did I get so many bills? Well, can I share with you a secret? Those type of questions are stopping you from getting what you desire. They are blocks to your personal and financial freedom. Just literally deleting your manifestation powers.
Now, when I watched this clip, I realized something. Could it be that I was asking myself the wrong questions? The questions in my head were, why do I need 2 Starbucks lattes every single day just to have enough focus and fuel to plow through work? Those were the questions I was asking myself. But as Christy said, what if I flipped the questions? So I went home that night. I looked in the mirror again. It was still my birthday. It was still January 14, 2016. But this time I asked myself a different question. Why do I have the fit muscular body of an athlete? That was the question I asked myself. I didn't have that body, but I asked myself that question. And I decided to follow Christy's advice. Now, here's the thing about lofty questions, right? And this is what we know about the subconscious mind. When you wake up in the morning, your brain is at what is called the alpha brainwave frequency. The alpha brainwave frequency is a level of light meditation. Jose Silva, the mind science pioneer, one of the top teachers on Mind Valley and a mentor of mine, said precisely this. The commands that you give yourself at the alpha level of mind are more likely to be embedded in your subconscious, because your subconscious is more alert at alpha. It's listening more carefully at alpha. So in the morning when I meditate, rather than just do the regular meditation, I would ask myself this lofty question: why do I have the fit muscular body of an athlete? I would even go a little bit further. Why do I love going to the gym? I would go even further. Why do I only eat the foods that were healthy for me? Every time I said those questions, I noticed something: hope, not resignation. You see, if I use traditional affirmations, I have a fit body. There's that voice that goes, no, you don't. You ate that pizza last night, fatso. And if you're thinking, I don't have that voice, that's the voice. We all have that voice. But when I turned it into a question, there was no more resistance. But this is where things started to get weird. See, for 10 years, from my 30s to my 40s, I tried all of these different fad diets. Nothing worked for me. Starting to lose my hair, had a little bald patch over there, getting pudgier every day. And I'd done just about everything, but nothing seemed to work. But within a month of doing lofty questions, a beautiful coincidence happened. So this was an event for top teachers in the United States, authors, writers, of which I was one. And they were giving an award to a man called Eric Epimidis. Eric was a transformational coach, and he had created an eating program called WildFit. And he was getting an award because so many teachers, authors in this mastermind group had used WildFit and had claimed that it had caused them to lose a lot of weight. I was fascinated. And at the end of the event, I go up to Eric and I say, hey, can I try this? And he goes, sure. You know what I'm going to do, Vishen? There are about 8 of you over here who are interested. I'm going to run a private, group for you guys. 3 months. It's a 13-week program. We're going to transform your health. Now, I go into WildFit and I want to show you what happens. At the end of 3 months, my dream body suddenly appears. I go from 22% body fat to 14% body fat. A decade of trying to get in shape, a decade of trying to lose weight, no results. Within 4 months of lofty questions, my body had changed. Now the question was it me meeting this coach, Eric, or was it that something about the lofty questions caused me to attract the exact event, incident, method that gave me the results I wanted? So now my body has gone from 22% body fat to 14% body fat, but I'm feeling skinny. I want to put on muscle. I'm continuing to state the same lofty question. Why do I have the fit muscular body of an athlete? Another 3 months pass and something else happens. I meet a fitness trainer by the name of Lorenzo Delano. Lorenzo actually was working at my headquarters. And I bumped into Lorenzo because he was walking through our office in gym shorts and a wife beater. And I went up to him and I said, Lorenzo, listen, man, I love you. You're such a great person, but this is not appropriate dress code. And he goes, I'm sorry, I just got back from the gym. I was curious. You must be going to the gym a lot. You look really ripped. And Lorenzo goes, oh no, Vishen, I only go to the gym 30 minutes a week. I'm like, what? And he goes, 30 minutes a week. What I do is I work on a fitness methodology based on a book called Body by Science by the medical doctor Doug McGuff. And it's minimal effective dose fitness to cause muscle growth. And now the wheels in my head are turning. I go, Lorenzo, I want to learn this. Can you teach me? He goes, sure. You're my boss, so I can't say no. So great, we're going to the gym together. Lorenzo starts training me in the gym. And now watch what happens to my body. Within less than a year, I suddenly develop a body that looks like this. And this is a picture, and I'm not putting up this picture to in any way brag or show off my body. I just want to show you the difference. It's now been 1 year since lofty questions. And remember the exact question I used. Why do I have the fit muscular body of an athlete? And my body started taking that form. As I saw my body change shape, I realized that something was going on. So I started creating lofty questions in every aspect of my health. In fact, I ended up with a list of 27 lofty questions. And every day as I meditated, I would read those questions out. And as I started being invited to travel around the world, I started giving talks on lofty questions. And I heard stories from thousands of people who applied the same philosophy and got similar results. Now the question is, how can you bring this technique into your life? Today I'm going to show you exactly how. But the first thing I want you to understand is this. Why are affirmations failing you? How many of you here have stood in front of the mirror at one point and said, I'm confident, I'm abundant, I'm worthy of love. And somewhere, right here, in that inner part of you, a small but extremely well-informed voice says, "You sure about that?" That voice, that's the problem. We all have that voice. It keeps us humble. It gives us humility. But that voice overrides our capacity for change. Now, when you word a shift as a question, your subconscious is slightly confused. You're not commanding it to observe a reality that it knows isn't real. You're giving it a problem to solve. And here's my theory on the subconscious. Our minds are designed to be goal-seeking missiles. When you give your mind a goal, your subconscious has to get towards the goal. Think about hunter-gatherer tribes. The goal was to hunt the bison, find that bush of the juiciest berries. Once that goal is in the mind has to find a way to achieve that goal. You're not challenging the mind. You're asking the mind to find an answer to a new reality you want to step into. And those answers often come through downloads, intuition, serendipity. In fact, in the 1980s, the legendary mind science researcher Jose Silva said this out loud. He said, affirmations don't work. Not because the idea is wrong, because the format is wrong. So what's the correct format? I want to show you a really interesting diagram from the best-selling book, Atomic Habits. Okay, the diagram looks like this. It kind of looks like a bullseye. So the author of the book, James Clear, said that if you want to change anything about your life, there are 3 ways to do it. Step 1 is outcome. So outcome is this. Outcome is you tell yourself, I'm going to go from 24% body fat to 20% body fat in 6 months. It's a goal. And now you're challenging yourself against that goal. But there's still going to be resistance. There are going to be days when it's going to feel hard. The goal is going to feel painful. It's a push. It's a challenge. And that push and that challenge, it's going to create resistance. Step 2 is process. So let's say you want to lose weight, okay? You give yourself a process-based goal. You literally tell yourself, I'm going to wake up every day at 7 a.m., I'm going to head to the gym, going to do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'm going to work out for 1 hour each. Process. But there are going to be days when you're going to wake up and it's freaking cold outside and you haven't slept enough and you're going to tell yourself, oh my God, I just can't do this. I read about self-love. I got to give my body love. And what that love is saying right now is stay under the blanket. We break processes. Now, this is where it gets fascinating. James Clear said the best way to make the habit stick is to instead shift identity. And what this means is to develop the identity of someone who loves exercise, who treats their body in such a way because you function like an athlete. This is what lofty questions are doing. You're developing a new identity. Remember my lofty question, why do I have the fit muscular body of an athlete? That question assumes a different identity. Now, waking up in the morning, even if you're tired, you need to go to your gym because that is who you are. The workout isn't something you push to accomplish. The workout is simply how you exist. Identity, said James Clear, is what causes habits to stick. And this is the most remarkable thing about lofty questions. It is installing new identities. When you give a lofty question, why do I have such a great, amazing relationship with my partner? You're installing an identity. And you will start acting in accordance with that identity. In my case, my internal dialogue about health for years had been running on autopilot. Why is it so hard? Why am I not losing weight? Why am I getting older? Why do I have this back pain after a gym? And the universe, annoyingly literal, keeps showing up exactly the way I was expecting it to show up. With the back pain, with the laziness, with the addiction to sugary Starbucks drinks. So on that birthday, when I flipped the script, it shifted something in how the universe responded to me. Okay, now, for the science-minded of you, let's talk about why this works. Deep inside your brainstem, right here, is a structure called the reticular activating system, RAS. The RAS is your brain's spam filter, or for engineers in the audience, it's your brain's search algorithm. It takes 20 million bits of sensory information pouring in every second and decides which 2% of this is relevant to the human right now. Everything else gets filtered out. You've experienced this already. Think about a moment you decided you wanted a specific car. Let's say it was a white SUV Volkswagen. And suddenly, white SUV Volkswagens are everywhere on the road. They didn't multiply overnight. Your RAS just started flagging them. The beauty about the lofty questions is we are commanding our RAS to look for the right answer. The right answer to make you wealthier. The right answer to help you pick the best stocks. The right answer to help you transform your body. And that answer could be the serendipitous encounter with the right fitness instructor, a book that you pick up, an insight that you hear at a conference that suddenly seems to sink in more. It isn't magic. It's your subconscious going in full radar mode and seeking exactly the right answer you need. So there's this bizarre study called the question behavior effect. So researchers analyzed 116 separate published studies. And what they found is this, simply asking people about their intentions, not coaching them, not giving them a plan, not motivating them, just asking the question measurably increases their likelihood of following through. They asked students if they intended to vote in an election. These students ended up voting significantly at higher rates than students who weren't asked. They asked people about their intention to exercise. These people exercise more, even though nobody gave them a gym membership. They asked people about eating fruit and vegetables. 4 weeks later, these people were, you guessed it, eating more fruit and vegetables. The universe isn't the only thing that answers your question. Your own behavior starts answering the question. The question creates the behavior, sometimes before you've even consciously decided anything. Now, let's go on to the spiritual explanation. There's a principle articulated by the great teacher Michael Beckwith called the law of resonance. I remember sitting with Michael Beckwith once for breakfast. He was speaking at one of my events in Portugal. If you've seen the movie The Secret, you know who this man is. Profound wisdom, incredible teacher. He runs the Agape Spiritual Center in LA. Thousands upon thousands of people listen to his sermons every weekend. Truly incredible man. So sitting there for breakfast with him, I couldn't help but want to tap his brain. It had been 20 years since The Secret had come out. He had been in that movie, The Secret, and I asked Michael Beckwith, in the last 2 decades, given everything else you've learned, what would you change about the advice that you gave us all in The Secret? And he goes, Vishen, I know exactly what I would change. I would tell people that the law of attraction is bunk. And I go, what? He goes, the law of attraction is bunk. You see, the universe doesn't care what you want. Rather, the universe will reflect back to you who you are. Think about that. When you say, I want to lose 5 kilograms, I want to use the gym more, that's what you want. Universe doesn't give an F. But when you say, why do I have the fit muscular body of an athlete? Why do I only eat the foods that are right for me? You're shaping identity. And identity activates resonance. So I'm not asking you to choose between these explanations. It doesn't matter whether you believe it's the RAS, or if you believe it's the law of resonance, or you believe in what James Clear wrote about in his book Atomic Habits. What I ask you to do is to simply open the door and start creating your own lofty questions. And I'm going to teach you a simple 5-step method to create amazing lofty questions. And by the way, this method is so easy because it literally spells out the word LOFTY, the 5 rules of lofty questions, and this simple abbreviation will help you remember them. Now, let me give you the method, because there's an art to this. And when you use the LOFTY system for lofty questions, you're going to get even better results. So let's start with the L, okay? So the L stands for lifting. What this means is that the lofty question should elevate your energy. Say these out loud in your mind. The first one, why do I eat lots of vegetables? Flat energy. Nothing. Sounds like homework. That's not a lofty question. Now this, why does my body naturally crave exactly what it needs to thrive? Feel the difference? The second one feels like you've already won. I actually tried a lofty question once. Why do I have no desire for wine? And immediately I felt like I wanted to walk in front of a bus. Sad. And also deeply suspicious of myself because I like wine. I enjoy a glass of wine. I'm not trying to develop a clinical detachment from wine. Wine is one of my favorite bonding rituals with friends. So if the question doesn't lift you, it's the wrong question. Rewrite it. Now, ownership. Does your question require you to show up? Okay. Ownership. For example, if your question is, why do I sleep so deeply every night? Are you actually giving your body the condition for deep sleep? Are you off your phone before midnight? Are you giving yourself enough rest? You don't have to know the how. That's the whole point. The universe finds the how, but you have to have a commitment. The question points the direction. You gotta take the walk. Then we come to F. F is future focused. Okay? Future focus. Now, when I was 40, and I say this with the deepest personal shame, I was taking 2 Starbucks coffees a day, each one about 270 calories. And I got that tall latte, not the grande, because I somehow convinced myself that the smaller cup made me healthier. It was so hard for me to resist when the barista said, "Would you like some caramel syrup with that?" My self-dialogue was, why do I love sweet things so much? That question was looking backwards. It describes the identity I was trying to escape from. Lofty questions look forward. Why do I have the fit muscular body of an athlete? Even though at that time, fit muscular athletic body was somewhere in the future, distant future. So, not past state, future direction. Now, the T stands for truthful. Okay, truthful. This is the most important for younger people. If your parents want you to be an engineer, and you know in the deepest part of yourself that you're meant to do something else entirely, don't create a lofty question that says, why am I such a brilliant engineer? Your subconscious already knows you are lying to yourself. It knows the difference between ambition and performance. It will resist a question built on someone else's dream. The older we get, the more we find ourselves, and the easier this test becomes. The question has to be yours. That brings us to the why. Yes, inducing. Okay? So, why do I have such abundant energy every day? Think about that question. Do you want that? Yes. It's yes-inducing. Why am I always surrounded by people who celebrate my success? Heck yes, that's yes-inducing. That's the world you want to live in. If the question makes you feel a forward-moving energy, even just a tinge of excitement, it passes the why test. If it makes you feel nothing, or worse, if it makes you feel like you're lying to yourself, it fails. Rewrite it. Run every question you create through Lofty. It takes 30 seconds, and it's the difference between a question that quietly rewires your life and one that gets forgotten by Wednesday. So let's look at a couple of really good lofty questions. Let's look at a lofty question for financial success. Why do I have avalanches of abundance flowing down on me for all my dreams and goals? Okay. Is it lifting? Heck yes. Is it ownership? Can you take steps towards it? Yes, you could work harder. You could try to start a company. You could take steps towards financial abundance. You could read books on investments. Is it future focus? Absolutely. Is it truthful? Yes, you want money. You're not lying to yourself to your money. We all want money. And why? Is it yes-inducing? Absolutely. Now let's look at the opposite of this. Why do I work out 5 hours every week? Is it lifting? No. Feels like work. Is it ownership? Yeah, it could do that, but it fails the lifting quest. Is it future focus? Yes. Is it truthful? Do you really want to work out 5 hours a week? Or are you doing it because you believe that's the only way to get healthy? And is it yes-inducing? The large chunk of you who are going to say, I don't know if that's worth the pain. I don't know if I'm ready to make that distinction. So you see the distinction between a lofty question that passes LOFTY and a lofty question that does not. And I'm going to give you some really good questions to help you get started. Now, the ideas and insights go deeper into your subconscious. Yet most of us, first thing we do when we wake up, we check Instagram. We look at our phone. We check for new messages from people we miss. Not a bad thing. But what if instead of that, we spent that first 5 minutes in meditation, sitting upright in bed in a relaxed position, don't worry about breathing or anything else, and just reciting our lofty questions. If you don't have them on memory, have them on a piece of paper. That works as well. You can have your eyes open. But that first 5 minutes, that is essential. Lofty questions work best when they are holistic. Don't just focus on your health. You don't want to be that guy with the great body, but completely broke. Likewise, don't just focus on money. You don't want to be the billionaire with really lousy relationships with his children and his family. So organize your lofty questions around multiple pillars. You can look at health, love and relationship, career and purpose, abundance, personal growth. So I have 27 lofty questions right now across these categories. I've committed most of them to memory. Every few days, I read them in meditation. But I did not start with 27. I started with 5, and these are some examples of lofty questions you can draw from. We're going to put it up on the screen, and I'm going to read them out to you. Check the energy as you listen to these questions, and if you feel this, a yes, a heck yes, this could be a good lofty question for you. So let's get started, okay? Why do I have unlimited energy and vitality? Why does my body naturally crave exactly what it needs to thrive? Why do I sleep so deeply and wake up completely refreshed? Why is my body such a powerful self-healing machine? And the last one, why am I getting younger and younger every year? Now we go to the second batch. Lofty questions under love. Why am I always surrounded by love? Why do I attract loving, supportive, growth-oriented people into my life? Why are all of my relationships harmonious and deeply fulfilling? Why do I create such deep, meaningful connections effortlessly? For those looking for a partner, why do I effortlessly attract my soulmate? For those wanting to deepen an existing relationship, why does my relationship with name get richer and deeper every day? Now let's go on to career and purpose. Why am I so deeply aligned with my soul's purpose? Why do opportunities flow to me so effortlessly? Why do I make a meaningful impact while being abundantly rewarded? Why do I love what I do so much that it doesn't feel like work? And this is one of my favorite ones. Why do I solve all problems that come my way in a fun and easy way? By the way, if you're a founder, that one question will keep you sane. Now we come to abundance and money. I want to address this one directly because a lot of people who come to this work have complicated feelings about money. Don't ask, why do I have enough money to pay my bills? That's a scarcity question wearing a lofty question costume. You're focused on the ceiling, not the sky. Instead, ask, why is money such a natural, easy flow in my life? Why am I so good at creating, keeping, and multiplying wealth? And this one, the one that I've stated multiple times, I borrowed it from watching Tony Robbins' documentary, I Am Not Your Guru. He said something along these lines. Why do I have avalanches of abundance raining down on me for all my goals, visions, and desires? Sit with that one. Let it do something. Now, personal growth. Why am I always evolving with such ease and joy? And this one, which Jose Silva used as a statement, I now use as a question. Why am I getting better, better, and better every day in every way? Why does the right knowledge, the right teachers, the right insights always find me exactly when I need them? The last one is how I explain this movement right now. You didn't find this video randomly. You are looking consciously or not for an answer. And the universe, in whatever form it takes for you, sent it. Now the rules for practicing this. Rule number 1, do it in meditation. State it once. When your brain drops into a slower brainwave state, alpha, you can even go deeper, theta, for those of you who are experienced meditators, the subconscious becomes receptive. This is not mysticism. This is neuroscience. You want to ask your lofty questions in that morning window, morning meditation. Now, if you are trained as a meditator, you can meditate anytime during the day, but it is during that relaxed state that you want to implant your lofty question. And remember, you only state the question once, not a mantra. You state it once. Rule 3, always use why, not what. See, if you use what, you get this. What do I need to do to have a fit body? That's a to-do list. That's homework. It doesn't pass the LOFTY methodology. Instead, why do I have the fit muscular body of an athlete? Why presupposes it's already true. It asks your subconscious not to plan a new reality, but to justify one, to find the evidence that it's already so. One word, all the difference. One word activates that law of resonance. So now, as we come to the close of this video, okay, this is the challenge I want to give you. I want to leave you with a challenge. It requires at most 1 minute a day. Starting tomorrow morning, write down 5 lofty questions, one for each of the 5 areas, on paper, on your phone. Somewhere you'll see it. Before you open your eyes in the morning or just in the first few minutes of quiet, read each question out. The first day you do it, you may need to open your eyes and read. But as you do it on day 3, day 4, you'll start to remember the questions. You can say it naturally, like you know, one of your favorite nursery rhymes. Why does my body naturally crave the right foods it needs to thrive? Why do I have such abundance flowing to me so easily? It just flows naturally. And the bonus is, when you open your eyes and start your day, you're going to feel so much better, so excited, so much hope. And as you go through your day, notice little things that show up. An article you read, a compliment from a friend, a penny you discover on the ground that seems to validate that the lofty question is working. Celebrate your success. This is where things start amplifying. You're not chasing anymore. You're attracting. And this is what I want you to understand on a level that goes deeper than technique. People spend their entire lives asking the wrong questions, not out loud, not consciously, but in that running internal dialogue that never stops. Today you've learned something different. Every question is in a very real sense a prayer, a request sent to your subconscious, to your RAS, to whatever organizing intelligence you believe shapes your reality. And every prayer, when it's the right kind, begins to shape you. The universe has been waiting your entire life. It has been waiting for you to ask the right questions. So begin tomorrow. Start asking better ones. I'll put a complete list of example questions across all 5 areas in the description below. It's your starter stack. Take what resonates, make it yours, and then build from there. If you've done lofty questions before, drop a comment. If you have an idea for a question right now, post it in the comment. As we read each other's comments, you might help inspire someone else with your brilliantly eloquent, lofty question. If this is all brand new to you, tell me one question you're going to start with tomorrow morning, and I'll see you in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, click subscribe and stay tuned for upcoming videos. I'm going to be releasing a whole series of videos that build up on these ideas. Share this video with a friend who might really need to watch it. Thank you.